From personal ads to porn stars, astrology to testimonials, it's the hottest talk radio. It's the Derek and Romaine Show.
Derek here, along with Romaine, and joining us now, our returning champ, my old pal from high school, sort of, Richard Hatem, is back with us.
What is this sort of?
Yeah, it's like you kind of maybe, but not really. I don't even know, Derek.
Okay.
What is that?
Look,
is it the pal part or the high school part? Because I know you didn't graduate, so maybe that's it.
Yes, I did graduate. Okay, we went to the same high school. And if I had arrived at the high school when I was in my freshman year, we would have technically been in the same high school at the same time. But we did not actually attend the same high school at the same time.
That makes no sense to me, Derek. Why do I have vivid memories of you at the high school then? You're not that much younger.
Yeah, Derek, why?
I don't know.
Well,
but yes, I'm not pulling a thing like, oh, thanks for pushing me in a baby carriage when you were in high school. Like, I'm not trying to pull something like that.
Aren't you?
I'm really not.
How old are you?
Wait.
I'm 29, and so that makes Rich Hatem like 32.
Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on a second.
Yes.
Who were you hanging out with then? Because I remember when I started at Alhambra High School, there were like Jeff Gould and Dave Rangel. There were people I knew who had already graduated,
right,
and they were still friends with underclassmen who I was still going to school with. So
yes. I
get the notion, but I don't think I was really hanging. I mean, I was hanging out with Annette a little bit, but I don't. How in the world did I know you if we were not attending school at the same time?
Yeah, Derek.
Okay.
How?
So you were in school with Guy Van Empel and Patty.
Yeah.
People I did not know in high school because Guy had already graduated, although I did meet him when I was in high school because he came back one day and for something. And we were in the Little Theater, because our high school had like a massive, huge theater, and then the Little Theater, which only held like 200 people, like insane. Anyway,
we had like a theater complex.
Yeah. It was incredible. Like we were so lucky. Like as a theater department, we had like an absolutely unbelievable, like professional level size stage and orchestra pit, like everything.
We had the biggest theater in the San Gabriel Valley. We had 1,500 seats at our high school theater.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, did they ever actually fill that theater?
Yeah,
with assemblies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there were 3,000 kids at the school, so we would do 2 assemblies every time there was someone came to speak about how not to get pregnant and why we shouldn't do drugs, and they would have to assembly number 1, every seat filled, 1,500 kids. Then they get out. Then the next crowd comes in, 1,500 seats. I vividly remember that because also when we did the plays or the Christmas show,
right,
that was also the assembly. So we would perform for 1,500 people. I was like a freshman.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Performing, terrifying, and the greatest experience of my life.
Fair.
Yeah. So because I have the same vivid memories, and it was great because you'd get out of classes for the first half of that day if you were in whatever the assembly was, because it was usually sort of like late morning, early afternoon, right? So you'd have the whole morning off to get in a costume and everything. You were out of class. It was great. And then, yes, you would get to perform in front of 1,500 people twice. And we did sort of previews, like a short preview of whatever our play or musical was. And it was usually like probably a 15, 20-minute like segment of it. And then the holiday show, which in my senior year I wrote, and so I cast myself as Ebenezer Scrooge's like nephew or something. I can't even remember what it was that I wrote, but I wrote some holiday thing that was a version of the Christmas Carol.
Who was the drama teacher then?
That would be David Tarr, R.I.P., and Lanny Watkins, also R.I.P., and then briefly Linda Day, who we, frankly, as a class, harassed to such a point that she left after a single year.
Can I tell you my favorite thing about this is because I can actually see Richard today, and we haven't had that before, and watching Richard's face as he reacts to you just spouting this nonsense information at him is classic.
Well, okay, so
Your facial expressions are amazing.
You ran one teacher off and killed two others.
Well,
Yeah.
I think they died of relatively natural causes. Like we didn't actually kill the other teachers, but they are no longer living.
Well, you've just reopened the case, my friend.
Mhm.
No one was even looking at those deaths until now.
I mean, one of those teachers we did run into at a gay bar when I was there with Larry Ingalls, who you also went to high school with that I did not go to high school with because of like the time of our classes.
All right. I'm so confused by this, but I do want to know. Well, so you never had BK Holthouse?
No.
Okay, so
because he
all
was
right,
a
so
drama teacher, he must have left
Yeah.
that Linda Day replaced.
Okay. Well, okay, but then who was I hanging out with?
We don't
Where
know,
you were like,
Rich.
wait a
We
second,
don't know.
hold on, Derek. You were friends with like Mike Duggan
Yes.
and Mike
Annette
Lewis
Lee. Yes.
and Annette Lee.
Right.
How were you friends with them if you weren't going to high school? Were you just the guy
so-
selling them weed?
So I came to Alhambra High School at the beginning of my sophomore year. And so I was in Michael Duggan's class. I was in Annette Lee's class, but they were freshmen when you were seniors. That's how you knew them before I arrived.
Okay. But, well, all I
Not
know
understand
is
how time works?
you certainly made your presence known. I will
Yes.
say that.
Yes,
So-
Derek has a way of doing that.
Okay,
I
so
remember
anyway,
you better
but-
than people I actually went to school with.
Yeah.
But we
so the
we
thing is,
basically,
like,
but we were of the same
yes.
generation.
Long story long, we were, but like I legitimately went to school with Ki Kwan because he was in one of my classes. But you and I, we were just sort of like in parallel, but not actually sort of in the same MCU.
Wow. All right. Well,
But I want to tell you, like, nobody listening is going to care. But so, like, Guy Van
Oh, they
Empel
care.
was the guy that we went to high school with, and Guy was like a star. Like, he was like a big high school star. And I'm sure he'd hate to hear this, but like when I arrived, everybody talked about Guy. Oh, he's the greatest. Oh, everybody loved Guy. Anyway, and so one day we were in the little theater. We were probably doing our talent show or something we were working on. And so we were in the little theater and Guy Van Empel was there and I'd never met him before. And I come down the aisle, like I walked in from the front of the theater and I walked in and everybody was sort of sitting around the stage and Guy was sitting on the lip of the stage and people were sort of sitting around in awe that he was back. And I came down the aisle and he goes, "Hi, Derek." And I was like, I couldn't believe it that he, like this person I'd never met before, but I had heard so much about, knew who I was, and I was so impressed and, you know, everything. And anyway, it went on. It turns out that I was wearing something, as I often do, with my name on it, and he just like read my name off of my shirt. But I was so impressed with his psychic abilities to tell who
You
I
were
was
like-
and what my name was.
You thought, how does this cool guy know
Yes.
who I am?
Right.
How
Yeah.
is my reputation already so
That's right.
established that I am on his radar?
Yeah, that's Derek because he's so full of himself. Of course,
I
that's
know.
what he thought.
Yeah, it's kind of a perfect me story because
Mhm.
it says everything about me. Like what I was impressed by, but also that I was wearing a shirt with my own name on it. And then
Some
like didn't
things
even
never
realize it. Like it
change.
was so ingrained in who I am. I'm so
Right.
Laverne with an L on everything that it didn't even occur to me that like I was just a walking billboard for myself.
He acknowledged you, and in that instant of, oh my God, I can't believe this guy knows who I am, you instantly rolled your eyes, flicked your hand, turned away, and ignored him completely.
That's not 100% of what happened, but
But pretty close.
that might be how he remembers it, if he remembers me at all. But Rich and I met because Rich was dating this girl, Missy, who was the older sister of my friend in high school, Ryan. And
Oh,
so,
right.
yes.
Oh, that might be the connection.
And so I came over to Ryan and Missy's house for, it must have been Missy's birthday. It was something, I think it was her birthday party because that was where I met Larry Ingalls. And then we started having sex like 3 days later, 2 days later out of that party. Like, but
Okay,
I
this
met
is
you at that
total
party
news
and then I
to
met
me.
Larry
Keep
Ingalls at that
going.
party too.
So you and Larry, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the hilarious thing was I wasn't out, but my mom knew I was gay. And I was like, Larry and I were together for, I don't know, like 8 months or something. And then after we broke up, my mom was like, continue to be friends with Larry. It's like, got him a job at her office or something. Like, I can't even remember. I was like, why are you still being friends with my ex-boyfriend? And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, we were hanging out together all the time. Like, I was sleeping over at his place. It's like, oh, I didn't think you were dating because I just couldn't see the two of you together.
Well, she knew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, she knew I was gay. She knew he was gay, but did not. Well, like, oh, but the two of you couldn't possibly be a couple. That's ridiculous.
You know, God bless your mom, because back in those days, it was like, wait, you're gay and you're gay? Oh, you're together. That's automatic. Yeah, you're the two gay guys. So yeah, go for it.
I really think it's because my mom and I have the same taste in men, and she was not into Larry. So that was probably what it was. Anyway, but
And
yeah,
she has
so it
gone
was-
on to pick all of your boyfriends. So
yes. Well, no, but the ones that were real trouble, those were the ones my mom was like, oh, he's cute. I was like, oh, this is danger. But anyway, yeah, so it was at that party that I met you and I met Larry. And yes.
that actually makes sense.
Yes.
All right. Wow. A lot of people getting laid in high school.
Well, I was already out of high school. Like that was after I graduated.
Oh, well, see, here's
Sorry.
the thing. People got laid more in high school than I don't. The sex thing is not happening for young people in the way it was when we were young. Can we all
Nope.
agree on that?
Oh no, we definitely can agree on it. I started having sex at 16. My daughter, I'm convinced, is gonna be a virgin until she's 40. Like she has a boyfriend and she won't even kiss him. She's like, oh no, yeah, we're not kissing.
Why? What's the thinking?
I don't know. She just doesn't want to. I mean, it might be because I've told her that if she ever has sex with a man, she's going to get pregnant because the women in our family are very fertile. So it might be that she just doesn't want to get pregnant. And so she's like, yep, we're not going to do that. Not even going to kiss.
Wow.
Or it might be
No.
that I'm a super sex positive person. And so she's rebelling against that and is like, no sex,
There you
no
go.
how.
Yeah, in a weird way that makes sense that it's some
Mhm.
sort of generational rejection of that's what you guys did. That's not what we're going to be about.
Yeah.
But, and I've got 3 sons, and they've the 2 older ones obviously have had sex, but it was not, and among their peer group, that just does not seem to be something that is on their their to-do list.
Yeah. It's like
And-
driving. I can't get my daughter to drive a car.
So many of these kids, they're in their mid-20s in Los Angeles and don't drive. If you're in New York, you've at least got an excuse.
Right.
But in LA, if you're not driving the day after you turn 16, I don't know what your problem is. You better be in a wheelchair and have no access to a handy-capable car. Okay. And that's it. All right.
Yeah.
But they just, we don't want that. My dad can drive me. Mom, I don't need. What are you talking about? Get out there, start driving, get laid, get a job, and get on with your life.
I actually
Yes!
think these things are correlated because when I went to that party, I did not have a car because I was like 18, 19, and I was not driving. And because Larry lived close to where I lived, he gave me a ride home.
Yeah,
and
I bet he
that's where
did.
he knew where I lived. So the next morning he could show up and ask me if I wanted to go to breakfast. And then that was the opening salvo to we're going to be dating now. So there was a direct correlation here between not driving and having sex for me. So yes. So yes, I think there is a correlation between, if you had a car, you'd be having sex more because you could get to the people you're having sex with and have a place to have sex.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's like, I need a ride, so, I guess I owe him. That's kind of right.
Yes. I did tell my daughter she had to
Thanks
make
for-
out with her boyfriend after he brought her food to her work one day. I'm like, you can't not kiss him after he went out and bought you food and brought it to you.
I'm so glad you're making it transactional.
I'm like, you kind of owe him at least a kiss. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What a positive lesson.
By the way, I totally, because guys think they think it's hot. I'm still trying. I try to, like, Susan and I'll have sex. We've been married 20 years. I'll leave a little money on the dresser. She hates it.
I love that.
But for me, It's just,
I
don't know.
think I want to try that. I wonder how Iris would react. Might be fun to find out.
Yeah, just try. I don't know.
One of my favorite Onion stories or headlines that they did was suburban wife in sex for security deal, right? And it was basically exactly this but it was like a scandal, like this fraud that she's running this sex for security scheme in the suburbs.
I think
Hilarious.
sex is always transactional. I mean, maybe not 100% of the time, but there's always some sort, and especially the deeper I think you get into a relationship, it's sort of like, well, we haven't done it in a while, or, it is, Thanksgiving.
The sexiest of holidays.
So, in the back of your mind, it's like, wait, there's a score sheet. I don't know. Is it just me? Is this
Oh no, it's definitely Romaine.
Oh no, it's definitely yeah. Like,
okay.
Oh, I just mowed the lawn. I deserve an orgasm.
But see, in a long-term relationship, the partner would be like, okay, that's great. You are owed an orgasm. What does that have to do with me?
Right. And then I
I'll
say,
leave you
I
alone.
did it so you wouldn't have to. So now you have to give me an orgasm.
It's like, you were on the riding lawnmower. Didn't you take care of it then?
No, I did not. Maybe I should. Might give the neighbors a show.
I think the relationship goal is Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward, where Joanne Woodward basically turned Paul Newman into her fuckboy. Like they had a art shack in the backyard. Like their kids talked about, like they would go out to work on art, and they would just fuck all afternoon. And but he was not especially sexually adventurous or anything until they met. And she was like, I'm going to turn your world upside down. And and she was like the sexual aggressor in that relationship.
This is what Derek does. He knows weird shit.
Yeah. Oh, you should watch the Last Movie Stars documentary that they did on HBO. It's quite illuminating about them and their relationship. But she was the sexual boss in that relationship. And you would think it was so weird because he was this movie star sex symbol. But that was not his energy at home, at all. And
see, Derek, he's not just an object. Okay. He's
he definitely was just a sex object.
Men, am I right?
She just used him for sex and threw him away.
Good
As it should be.
Yeah, someone's got to be doing something. But really, but maybe that is it. Maybe it's sort of like, hey, she's reacting to him the way millions and millions of people around the world are. She's like, yeah, I want to fuck Paul Newman. Let's do it. Now that I can, let's do it a lot.
Right.
God bless, I say. That's how Susan treats me.
Anyway, Rich Hatem is with us. He is the host of the Paranormal Bookshelf podcast.
That's right. No, it's called Richard Hatem's Paranormal Bookshelf because
is there some other paranormal bookshelf we don't know about?
Yeah, I didn't want it to get mixed up with the other podcasts about paranormal bookshelves. Meanwhile, your listeners are like, so you have a haunted bookshelf? What does it do? Do the shelves come off? Does it is it like in The Exorcist?
Like are books flying at your face? What's happening?
I wish.
Okay.
No.
All right. So you believe
paranormal books on the bookshelf.
So you believe in paranormal stuff.
Ghosts. Hey, whoa, Romaine, I didn't
say
I believe in anything.
I'm just going to assume you do.
I am open.
Okay.
I like to think of myself as an open person.
Have you had ghost experiences in the past?
No, I have not. I have never had a supernatural experience. So I am very much an armchair paranormalist. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. So, because I am a big believer in ghosts. My brother died a while back, and I asked him to haunt my sister and my other brother, and he's been doing it, and it makes me very happy.
Wait, hold on. This is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. You don't ask him to haunt you. You're not like, I want proof.
I mean, he could be around if he wants. I don't care. He was always in life. He was always fucking with people. Like that was his thing for fun. But my sister Sabina and my brother John kind of were shitty people around the time of his death. And so after he died, I told him, I said, listen, Sabin, if you could, I would really appreciate it if you would haunt these motherfuckers and scare them or do mean shit to them on the regular, because it would make me happy. And then he has been doing it, and it really pleases me.
I'm sorry. I gotta unpack this.
How is he doing it? Is that your
question?
question?
No. Well, no. My first question is, did you ask him to do this while he was still alive?
I waited till he died, and then because I talked to him all the time, because he put me in charge of much of his estate after he died, which is why I dislike the other two siblings so much, because they were real pains in the asses around it. Sure. And he was very angry with them when he died, and so I knew he'd be open to hearing what I had to say. So I just talked to him. And and I know he listens. And we also have at my house, we have this offering stump in our backyard where we make offerings to nature in his name.
Sure, who doesn't? Yeah,
it's weird, I know. But it's lovely. It's a thing we do. And he would have loved it, because that was just the kind of weirdo he was. And so I go and I talk to him. Like, if I need to talk to him, I just go sit on the offering stump and we have a conversation. And so that's what I do. But he is legit haunting my siblings, and I fucking love it.
What's he doing?
Okay, so he does a lot of fucked up shit, mostly to my sister Sabina, which is the best part, because even in life he used to fuck with her and scare her all the time. So he has fucked with her cars. Like, he'll make the dashboard lights flash on and off, especially in the car that she I'm going to use this word lightly, inherited, that was his when he died. And so he fucks with her through the car all the time. Time.
It was his car. Now it's her car. So it's a Christine situation.
And she kind of got it through dubious circumstances. Let's just leave it at that.
That car is coming for the brother now. That car's got a mind of its own.
Yeah. So it haunts her. And then he does stuff like in their houses where he turns lights on and off to scare them. And then Sabina, because Sabina's been living alone for a bit, she got a bunch of security cameras, and he's always setting off the security cameras. And then when she goes to look, there's nothing there, and he just does it to fuck with her. And I love it. Now, I know that all of this is true because, okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but I went to this psychic medium party my neighbor was having.
Of course, as one does.
Yeah.
Again, we all do.
Yes. And so while we were there, dead people were showing up and talking to the people who were in the room. And
it's a busy party.
It was. And so Sabin, my brother, showed up, and she started saying all these really weird things to me about Sabin. And like, the funniest part was, she said, he keeps showing me this chicken, and he wants me to tell you that he's got this chicken for you. And the thing is, I had recently had a dream about him, and in my dream, he kept trying to show me his cock. And I kept telling him, Sabin, I don't want to see your cock. I don't want to see your cock. And I run away from him in my dream. And so she's like, I don't know why he wants me to tell you he's showing you his chicken. He's got this chicken, and he's showing it to you. And I'm like, oh my God, tell him I don't want to see his cock. And she goes, he just laughed so hard.
Oh,
and she goes, God. He knew you'd get it. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I don't want to see it. But you have to understand, my brother Sabin was obsessed with his beautiful cock. He thought he had the most amazing cock ever. So this all falls in line with his personality. And anyway, and during this conversation, I asked her, I said, can you tell me if Sabin is doing the thing I asked him to do? Because I've only ever really asked him to haunt these guys. That's all I've ever really asked him since he's died. And she goes, oh, yeah. And then she starts describing all the things that he was doing to Sabina and John. And I didn't know about this prior to this, right? I didn't know that he was actually haunting them. I just had hoped he was. So then, after the day is over, and I'm done with this medium and I go home, I just send a text message into the family text message. And I'm like, hey, are any of you guys having car problems, or are your lights going on and off in your house? And they're like, Sabina's like, yeah, Sabin's car has been fucking with me for months. It keeps doing these crazy, and she starts describing it, and I start chuckling. And then John's like, yeah, the lights have been going on and off in the house. I don't know what's going on. And I swear to God, I about died. I thought it was the funniest shit. And to this day, I'm like, I'm a believer. Sabin is fucking with them, and it brings me so much joy and happiness.
I totally believe this.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the medium knowing this stuff and being able to just
And I confirmed it. Like I confirmed it without even telling them why I was asking.
That is so good. Oh my God. Okay, well, hey, I'm in.
Yeah. There you go.
Now
Yeah,
I did.
you
I had my own like very minor ghost encounter. Once, like when I was a teenager.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell the time
Angeles.
about the office when you ran out. And I was
Oh yeah, we did have a ghost in our old office, but honestly, that had been a turn of the century sweatshop. I think that whole place was haunted like all the time. But Romaine loves this because the security camera caught me.
Okay, so Rich, I got
tell the story, Romaine.
So for months, we're in the studio, and where I sat in the studio, I looked out through a window into the main part of the office, and I kept seeing this person walk by, right? And it was driving me crazy. I'm like, we have a ghost. I'm like, there's no question. There's a ghost out there. It walks through the office all the time. And I'm always telling Derek about this ghost. And he's like, yeah. But he always had his back to it, so he could never see what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And
but also I was like, it's the light, the shadow, it's whatever. It's an old building.
He didn't believe me. He just straight up didn't believe me.
We had a guy who worked with us, Donnie, who is the worst. And he was one of these people who's like, there are ghosts around me all the time. It was a total Sixth Sense situation where he's like, I have to move. My apartment is too haunted. There's too many ghosts like in the apartment. But like there were ghosts around him all the time. And so when Romaine started seeing this ghost, Donnie's like, the ghosts, they're around us all the time. And of course we were like, this is Donnie's fault. He's the worst.
He brought the ghost.
He brought these ghosts in here because we didn't have a ghost problem. Like a mouse problem. We did not have a ghost problem until Donnie showed up.
Right.
And then
Thanks, Donnie.
I pipered ghosts into our office.
So anyway, I'm telling Derek I've been seeing this ghost for a while, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And so then he's at the office one day alone, and he sees the shadow of the ghost, freaks the fuck out, and is like, yep, not doing that today, ghost, bye. And he goes running out of the office. And all of it was captured, and by all of it, I mean Derek's reaction, was captured on our security camera. So I have the Derek being like, not doing this, bye, bitch, and running out the door. And he's like, oh my God, I saw the ghost. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you did.
Because I was like the way our office was, it was like this long space and our studio was on one end and then we had a tiny little like working office on the other end. And when we were in the studio, we had like a big glass window so that people outside the studio could see what was going on inside the radio studio. Pretty common setup. So Romaine was seeing the ghost sort of across this long part of our office to the thing, which is near where our kitchenette area was. And that was just outside of where this little office was. And I was sitting inside the little office and I saw like somebody go past the door and I was alone and I didn't hear the door open. And I was like, who the hell is here? And then I walked out and I was like, okay, this is the ghost that Romaine is talking about. I was like, I'm not sticking around in this office alone with a ghost in here. And I just like grabbed my shit and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. Goodbye.
It was so great.
Bye, ghost. I literally yelled,
so
goodbye,
scary.
ghost, as I walk out the door.
So did you you continued working there? You just made sure never to be there alone, or?
Well, I mean, the ghost didn't try to kill us or anything. And pretty soon after this, like the pandemic came and like shut everything down and we weren't there as much. And then the rats really did take over. But no, but the ghost was an ongoing problem. But it was Donnie moved to Los Angeles pretty soon after that. And then we did not see the ghost again after Donnie left.
We need to talk to Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie, you should talk to Donnie on your podcast because he is
I don't want to talk to Donnie. I'm afraid of Donnie.
Like the ghosts are around him.
He's going to bring a ghost to your house.
Yeah, he will bring a ghost to your house. It's creepy.
I don't
like the end of the Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
I used to really want to see a ghost or to be in a haunted place or to see things move around. And I don't know why. The longer I'm around, the more I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need proof. I don't need to see something to know it for myself. I'm good. I'm good.
I got to ask you, what do you think about this Annabelle situation with the doll and the deaths and the craziness that happened lately?
Well, I don't know. I'm not, first of all, I'm not super well versed in Annabelle. Second of all, I don't believe in any of that. And then third of all, maybe.
I don't believe in any of that, but maybe.
I mean,
right?
so my mom was adopted, and the woman who raised her, my mom described her as never believing in anything she couldn't put her fist through. She was a tough broad. And, but she and her sister, they lived in Connecticut, and she and her sister had gone into New York to like have dinner. This was in probably the 1940s, 1950s, like in that era. And so they were having dinner in the city, and they were like, oh, well, let's drop by like a, kind of a nightclub kind of a thing, and, have a drink or something before we head home to Connecticut. It's a long trip on the train. And so they pop into like a little supper club kind of a thing. And there was a a man doing some kind of like psychic thing with the audience or whatever, right? Like reading people, whatever. He was up on the stage. And so they came in and they're just like, well, we'll just come in and like have a drink or something. So they come in and they're just in the back, basically deciding if they're going to even stay. And so they're kind of in the back of this like cabaret space. And all of a sudden from the stage, he goes, is there a woman here named, and then he like calls out her sister's name, who's just in town tonight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she like raises her hand and he's like, you should go home. They need you at home. It's not like life threatening, but they're trying to get in contact with you, and you should go home and get with your family. Anyway, it turns out like one of the kids had like fallen and gotten injured or whatever, blah blah blah. Like while they were away, like there was they actually like went back,
Wow.
like called the house, and it turns out there was a thing that was happening there. That this guy like randomly from the stage, they weren't even like scheduled to be there, just walked in off the street, like shouted out to them from the stage, and then after that, she was like decided that she was going to believe in this nonsense. So,
nonsense.
The guy was right, but it was nonsense.
Dubbing it nonsense. She just had the experience. What more do you need, Derek? She had that happened.
Let me tell you something. You know what? My favorite thing in the Bible is that the fucking Red Sea parts in front of these people, and then 2 weeks later, Moses is up on the mountain, and he's like 3 days delayed, and they're like, maybe this was all bullshit. We should start a new religion. Like, you know what? People very quickly can set aside, miracles that happen directly before their eyes. Like they can pretty quickly move on. So,
you're not
become
wrong.
non-believers.
And there's two different ways that it works. Like some people view the world through skeptical eyes, and they believe that it's like anyone who believes in that stuff, that nonsense, as you say, they have a preconceived desire. It's like, well, they already want to believe in it, and they like the fantasy of, oh, we all go to heaven. So they will find opportunities to buy into those stories whenever they can. But then the opposite actually is true for people who actually experience stuff. There are, and I've heard so many stories of people who experience things and then immediately put it out of their mind and almost forget about it until someone else brings it up or reminds them or says, well, didn't you say something happened that night? And they're like, oh, I guess so. And I think there's a natural reaction when something happens that doesn't fit into our consensus reality, our material reality, and it also doesn't seem to have an immediate application. I think sometimes the mind does kind of reject it and just go, well, it's not important. I'm sure there's a reason why that thing happened, and I'm not going to think about it anymore. And I think that's a very normal reaction. And you see it over and over. And there's also this thing called paranormal fatigue, where someone will say, well, I woke up in the middle of the night and I went in the bathroom. And then as I was coming back to bed, there was this bright light, and I looked out the window and there was this craft and it was hovering, and it was, quite obviously a UFO. And I stared at it and watched it, and my wife didn't wake up, and then the thing flew away, and then I went back to sleep. And it's always that last part. It's like, wait, what do you mean you just went back to sleep? You didn't run over and shake the person or say, "Oh my God, I just saw something." You didn't write it down or record it. It's like, no, I just went back to sleep. It- the number of stories of people who just go back to sleep after the weird, scary ghost thing, it's incredible.
Why do you
And
think that is?
I think it is a almost like a human physical almost rejection of what's going on. It's a feeling of I can't really think about this because if I really start to think about it, my mind's going to come undone. So I'm just going to go back to sleep. That's theory number one. Theory number two is there's something about the experience, especially with things like UFOs, where the exterior stimulus is in control. And something about the UFO or about, God forbid, an alien abduction scenario is telling you to forget about it. Don't worry about it. And people have said that too. People have said, I was, on a cigarette break from work. I looked up in the sky. I saw an egg-shaped object floating over the building across the street. And I almost felt that it was telling me, nothing to see here. Forget about it. And so I kind of did. And it was only later that I'd ask my coworker, did you see something? And they're like, yeah, did you? It all seems so crazy and so counterintuitive. And yet, this tends to be how people actually react. They don't start screaming, they don't start running down the street grabbing people. They begin to feel weird about themselves. It's like, well, that thing's impossible. Therefore, there must be something wrong with me. But sometimes these encounters go on much more than a few seconds. And how often in your life have you misperceived something for longer than, say, 3 seconds before you go, oh, wait, no, that's a piece of tire in the road, or, oh,
Right.
no, that is just
Right.
a tree. You have that instant. And then I would say within 3 to 5 seconds at the most of us go, oh, wait, no, that's a jacket hanging on the back of a chair or whatever. Rarely does it go on and on and on, and you look away and you look back, and then it starts to speak to you, and you have a relationship with it, and then and then it's your dead relative who speaks to you. That's not a misperception. It's either what it seems to be, which is, yeah, dead relative came back and spoke to you, or it is a very common psychological syndrome that has never been described and never been explained, but has been a part of mankind since mankind has walked the earth.
I think what you're saying rings true because, so I remember I was out with my friends sitting on their porch. It was in the evening, and we were all just drinking and hanging out, and the Starlink
and having a few
satellites
laughs.
went by. Now, I knew what the Starlink satellites were, and I know that they look quite odd in the night sky. But nobody else in the group knew what they were. So I see them going by, and next thing you know, everyone in the group gets really quiet, and they're all watching it in the sky, and no one's saying anything to anyone like, "Hey, what is that thing?" And I'm watching them all kind of try to figure out what the Starlink satellites were, and then finally, I think it was my wife goes, "Do you guys see that thing in the sky?" And they're like, yeah, we do. And they're like, okay. But they didn't say, what do you think it is or anything and then finally I'm like, guys, it's the Starlink satellites. And they're like, what? And then I was able to explain it to them. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was like an alien spacecraft. And I'm like, and you're all just sitting there staring at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right about this.
Well, we live obviously in a culture of materialism. And when I say that, I don't mean people like to have things or buy stuff.
Right.
I mean, we live in a material reality, and since the Enlightenment, we've in a Western culture, we've lived in a world where the culture is telling us if you cannot hold it in your hand, it does not exist. Okay. And that's a philosophy, and it
Sure.
it makes a certain amount of sense, especially if you don't spend a lot of time thinking about other things or having other weird experiences that don't fit into the materialist paradigm. But what it's led to in popular culture, certainly in the last 150 years, is a culture of ridicule, which is if you do not, if you ever suggest that maybe something non-physical might be real, you will be ridiculed by people who say that's all nonsense, that's bullshit, that's stupid, you prove it, why can't, and it's like, well, I can't prove it because that's part of the problem. I experienced something, but it was non-physical and there's nothing left over from it except my memory of it, and you're kind of screwed. Now there's one thing in all of our lives that we all accept, and that's dreams.
Yes.
So there's no physical reality to dreams, but because it's a phenomenon experienced by so many people worldwide, we don't question it. We're just, if someone says I had a dream and they describe it, you listen and go, oh, that's cool, or I had one like that too. And people go, well, no, but you can record a dream like people can, in an EKG, your brain lights up, but we don't know why your brain is lighting up or what experience you're having. It's only because so many people talk about this non-repeatable anecdotal thing that happens, because it happens to so many people that we don't question it. If 95% of all people you ever met talked about having alien encounters, we wouldn't question it. Even if there wasn't proof, we just go, well, yeah, that's a thing. Everyone has that. But because the culture of ridicule is so strong, and also because it does happen to relatively few people, it makes it far easier to just say, look, that's all crazy and stupid, and who cares? And the other thing that makes it easy is because it does not seem to impact our overall reality. So the fact that some people might be actually being abducted by aliens, if it's not affecting my life and it doesn't seem to be affecting anyone else's consensus reality, why spend a lot of time thinking about the most terrifying thing in the world that might actually be happening? Or even second worst thing, maybe it's not happening on an absolute physical level, but it's happening realistically enough that someone believes it's happening. How horrible would that feel?
Yeah, I think especially nowadays with the government actually acknowledging that there are unexplained things that have existed and have been seen, and I mean, when even our government's like, okay, yeah, we've seen some shit. There's some shit. We kind of have to say, okay, well, maybe there really is some shit here. And people aren't just fucking crazy. I mean, I think we would be so naive to think that we're the only living beings in all of the universe. Like, we're the only planet in all of this gigantic universe that could support life. Well, that's stupid. We all know that's not true.
Don't you love how everyone is waiting for confirmation from the government? Yeah. Especially in the culture we live in now, do you really think that everyone's like, well, I'm going to trust the government to let me know about the existence of something that might not be entirely physical?
Right.
But somehow we're all sitting around waiting. There is, believe me, there's enough people who are not part of the government who experience this stuff. Why don't we just listen to people who have experiences, and then
right.
we can, and then we make our own determination. But the idea that what if the government came out tomorrow and said, well, we now have to announce to you that the CIA has been studying it in the Department of Defense, and ghosts exist. Would you believe that? But when it comes to, UFOs or, some sort of non-human intelligence, we're all waiting for them to tell us something, when really most people who claim to have experienced that phenomenon are just normal people, have nothing to do with the government. Why would the government have the edge on anyone when it comes to this stuff?
I think that is a very valid point. Also, as we have learned that sometimes things are complex, and when like a government officials try to explain complex things to people, there are not easy answers here. There are many possibilities, whatever. And the people shut down because nope, I just want, what's the easy answer? Just give me the easy answer. I feel this way,
right,
when we talk about sort of health of, Well, it's pretty simple. You know what? If you want to be healthy, it's a pretty straightforward diet, get a little exercise, whatever, read a book, do a crossword puzzle. Like there's pretty simple, straightforward things you could do. And everyone is like, no, no, there really must be some pill I can take. Or if I just, change the oil that I'm deep fat frying everything in, this will solve all my problems. And it's just
Nope.
like they don't want the harder, more complex answer. They want the easy, simple answer. And so in this case, where you're talking about like paranormal phenomenon, the simplest answer is anyone experiencing this is either confused or crazy. And then problem solved. And then you don't,
Right.
you're not dealing with it or thinking about it and whatever. And part of it is also, I think, inherently our as human beings, our like the biological way that we determine danger. Somebody talked about this about like how like national media is a problem for human beings because in ancient cave times when everyone's sitting around the campfire and someone says a dingo ate my baby, then oh, there's an immediate danger to my baby I need to be aware of. But when you watch TV and a dingo eats somebody's baby 10,000 miles away, you can't perceive that you are in no immediate danger from this dingo. And so, so we like as a species can't deal with our own sort of like risk assessment in a big meta sense because we can't grasp these kinds of things. It's why we are really gripped by a single murder or a single disappearance. But when we see the statistics of how many people just die routinely in car accidents, it doesn't make us all go, oh, well, the real danger is I have to wear my seatbelt and drive more safely. It's no, but I saw this news story about this woman who disappeared in Saskatchewan. I must be in immediate danger because we can't, it's just the way we do our own threat assessment. But I think with the paranormal stuff, like to your analogy about like the tire in the road, when you're driving at night, you sort of see things out of the corner of your eye and you are making an assessment. This is part of the problem that they have with like having AI drive cars is you're looking down the road and you're like, wait, is that shadow in the road something solid and physical that the car might hit that I need to swerve to avoid? Or is it a shadow from a tree and there's nothing physically there? And so our brain is making a real-time determination of danger, not danger, as we are moving forward. And it's entirely possible that a lot of this paranormal phenomenon, like you experience it, but then your brain says, this is not danger. And then you just keep moving forward because it's not, it's not immediate, it's not continuing to impact you. So your body just lets it go.
It's interesting that you bring that up, and you're sort of bumping up against the notion of precognition. And are people able to sort of perceive a threat that is temporally in the future,
right?
And what's interesting, and I've thought about this, the big premonitions and our understanding of the way precognition works is always bad things. No one ever has, it appears from, anecdotally, it never sounds like I just got this really weird feeling that, I was going to get a promotion or I just got this really weird feeling that, you were going to fall in love tomorrow or win the lottery or whatever the good things are in life. No one, those aren't the things that seem to sort of kind of drift back to us through time are plane crashes, the Titanic. Bad things are coming, and the people who've had accurate visions, it always tends to involve misfortune. The number of people who dream. Okay, remember during maybe you don't know this, but during COVID, during the lockdown, if you bought an iPhone, a new iPhone in Los Angeles, they would dispatch someone to bring it to your house. Oh. And an Apple employee would come to your home, sit in your backyard with you, 6 feet away, and they would set your phone up. And you could wear masks or whatever, but that was just a service they did. And I happened to have to buy a new iPhone. So I did. And this young woman came over to the house and we sat in the backyard, and it's weird. You're like, well, so you're just sort of chatting. And it comes out that she is psychic in one particular way, and in only this one way. She dreams when someone she knows is going to die. That's it. And she's like, this has happened 3, 4 times in my family, where I will have a dream that a relative of mine is going to die, and within 24 hours, they're dead. And I now understand that this is a thing for me, and it's the only thing, and that's it, you know? And I'm just like, that's so strange. She can't stop it, she can't change it, but it is I would say maybe it's a bad thing that's going to happen. And somehow this information gets to her before she consciously knows it.
All right. Well, that's super freaky. Now, you
Yeah.
are in the midst of, like, we're short on time now, and we have to actually talk about the tour that you are on, because you're
Yes.
actually touring around the country.
You're
Sorry.
touring.
Yes. And so we need to talk about your Light in the Dark tour, because you have a bunch of dates that are coming up, including going to the Mothman Festival, which I would like to know more about, because you wrote the screenplay for the Mothman Prophecies movie.
Yes.
And as often happens around various movies and TV shows, a long, deep, and books, because obviously that's happening with your bookshelf, but long, deep fandoms can build around them. And then there are whole communities and cottage industries that can grow up around this. And so this, I assume, is also true for you with the Mothman Prophecy. So talk about that and the festival and what you're going to be doing coming up.
Well, this will be the first time I've ever been to the Mothman Festival. So I wrote the movie. My history with that was I found the book, read it, and was like, oh, I see a way to adapt this. Not a strict, adaptation, beat by beat, but there's a way to do this and make a really, I think, scary movie. So I buy the book, write the script, it sells, movie gets made. The year it comes out, 9 months later, the town in West Virginia where all of this supernatural stuff was happening, which is the subject of the book, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, they have their first Mothman Festival. And Mothman is this weird, red-eyed, flying creature that people saw. And this was way back in the 60s. So the movie comes out in 2002. And in September of 2002, there is the first Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. They do it every single year. No one has ever picked up a phone to call me. No one is ever like, hey, come on down, and I keep thinking, well, maybe I'll just go down anyway, but it's never worked out. It's always been in September. Kids are going back to school. Never been able to do it. Finally, this summer, Jeff Walmsley, the guy who runs it and who runs the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, got in touch. And he's like, hey, do you want to come down and have a booth, and you can sell merch and you can meet people. You can speak. We'll have a Q&A. I'm like, I would love to. So that was back in June. Once I knew that was happening, I was like, well, I do these live performances of my podcast, which are episodes where I talk about a book and then I'll tell it at the same time, kind of tell a story about my life, and they kind of interweave. It's paranormal David Sedaris.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, if I'm going to be in West Virginia, maybe I can try to, get a show going in Washington, D.C. Maybe we can do something in New York. Maybe we can start putting some dates together and I can just drive from one to the next. So that's basically what we're doing. We're trying to get something set up for Cleveland, location to be determined. But then on Saturday, September 20th, I'm going to be in Point Pleasant, West Virginia at the Mothman Festival. I'll be signing scripts and selling shirts, and I will be doing a private show there, privately ticketed. It'll be an episode from my podcast, something that has never been broadcast. So this is a special show only for people who can go to a live show. And then we meet afterwards. If the venue allows it, I make cocktails because that's a big part of it. We'll have some snacks and then we'll hang out. So I'm doing Point Pleasant. I'm doing Washington, D.C. on September 22nd at Kramer's Books. And then one of the coolest ones is the following Saturday night in Center Reach, Long Island, New York. One of my fans has offered up their home. They got in touch. They said, for Halloween, we do an elaborate haunted house where people get to actually come through. We advertise it. It's a big deal. We're going to start it 1 month early, and we're going to host your podcast if you would like to. Come on, do it at our house, and your audience can come through the haunted house, experience all the thrills and chills, and then emerge into the area where you will do your podcast.
I love you, Richard, but if I had to go through a haunted house to see you, I'd say no.
Oh, so that's not your jam.
I hate scary things. I hate that. I don't go see scary movies. I refuse to do it because it actually scares me.
Terrifying.
Well, this one sounds like it's like in a neighborhood. It's not like Universal Studios professional, like, we're going to, assault you for 3 hours straight, but it does sound like fun. So anyway, so that's going to be in Long Island. If anyone within the sound of my voice would like to join us on any of these things, go to Eventbrite and look up Richard Hattem's Paranormal Bookshelf. Once you get through typing my name, Richard, and Hattem is just Hatem, it'll come up and you'll see all of our dates that we have confirmed, and more dates are coming, and how you can get tickets, and then just come down, meet me, hear the show, get some early Halloween thrills and chills, and say hello, and give your love to Derek and Romaine, and then I'll pass it on to them.
Okay, I have a question about Mothman. Do you think that Mothman was real?
Yeah. People do see this type of creature. Bigfoot is better known. And the Loch Ness Monster has a great publicist.
Yeah.
But Mothman is a thing that people see. That's as far as I can go. I've never seen that, but people saying, I saw a very, very large thing with red eyes, and then it lifted up into the air and flew away or flew over me or filled me with fear. There's various things associated with Mothman. It's happened around the world, and it's happened often enough that I'm going to go, okay, that's a thing that people see. And that's a thing I don't want to see.
Okay, fair enough. And yet you're going to the place where it's been seen.
Well, not recently.
Okay.
Thank God.
Are you at all concerned that you showing up will, like in a horror
just
sequel,
don't invite Donnie,
that it's going to cause the Mothman to return because you are
right?
there?
Yeah, it's like wait, too many things are falling into place.
I'd be scared.
The festival, I show up. All we need is Richard Gere, and all bets are off.
Well, I mean, there could be an opportunity for a adaptation style sequel of, the writer of the movie shows up and then it happens again, kind of a situation. So, have your laptop ready is what I'm saying.
John Keel, the guy who wrote the book, The Mothman Prophecies, who investigated the original sightings and all the other supernatural events that were happening in Point Pleasant at that time. When I optioned the book from him, and he was an older man at that point, he was, well into his 70s. And we would talk on the phone, and he would tell me, he's like, look, you're taking on the mantle now. I wrote the book, but now you're making it a household word by making it into a movie. And once you do that, he's like, you're out there, get ready for the crazies, because they're coming. And I'm like, really? And he's like, oh yeah, they'll come out of the woodwork. And really, aside from the two of you, it hasn't happened.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Well, maybe it'll change this September when you're in West Virginia for this Mothman.
I expect a lot of crazy people to come out. Well, what's really fun is that Mothman has become this sort of avatar, or the sort of hero to the LGBTQ community. And he sort of, or it has been adopted as, I don't know what it is, a symbol of an outsider, but a symbol of a sort of proud and defiant member of society that will not follow rules. It'll glow its eyes and fly whenever it feels like. And I'm like, great, go for it, you know? So I don't know who's, and the statue they have apparently has quite an ass on it.
Oh, that probably has something to do with it. Yeah.
So that might, and so people like to come and rub the ass for good luck and get pictures taken with it. So I'm just really looking forward to finally being there, seeing the statue, meeting all the people, meeting the fans, and then doing a show that night. So
that sounds like fun.
I'm pretty excited. It's finally happening.
So it's not like with the Babadook, where the Babadook became a gay rights figure because Netflix inadvertently put the movie into their like LGBTQ viewing selection in the month of June one year. So it's not like that, right?
It's not like that, but I got to tell you, there is so much Mothman porn.
What?
It's crazy.
What?
Oh,
it's all like slash fiction, and there is a giant subcategory of erotica involving people having sexual intercourse or some sort of sexual encounter with Mothman, with Bigfoot, with dog men, with sort of cryptids of all kinds. Apparently it's very popular. People keep sending it to me. I'm like, I don't want to read this. I'll never get an erection again.
I will say there is one thing about having a fandom, no matter how big or small it is. People definitely overestimate your interest in certain things based on your existence within that fandom. So it's something that I deal with every day. Of like, people email me things all the time, and I think, am I supposed to be excited about this? Because I'm not. This is not as exciting for me as I think you thought it was going to be.
You clearly need to talk about gold coins more, and
right.
then people can send those to you.
That's a good idea.
It would definitely be more lucrative than my railing against shopping carts that are not put away properly. That
I know.
Is now,
I should be
like,
talking more about vodka.
Oh yeah. They will send you vodka.
Be sure to check out Rich Hadam's new Vodka and Gold Coins podcast, a spinoff that is coming up. But Rich, I'm so glad to have you on the show and catch up with you. And hopefully I will be back in Los Angeles soon, and we can catch up again in person, because I had such a blast the last time we got to hang out.
I'd like to see you in person too sometime. That would be nice.
She's just going to bring ghosts.
Either you come out here or I'll go individually to wherever you are. And I think there might be a cruise coming up sometime in the next 6 years or something. I don't know how far ahead you plan these.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're into, Susan and I are there. We're into it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely, we'll get into that. Okay, good. Excellent. Our thanks to my friend and yours, Richard Hadam, and you can get to know him even better on the road. You can check out his Light in the Dark tour, which is going on across the country, but he has dates coming up in the month of September at the Mothman Festival in West Virginia, and then coming up in D.C. and Long Island, New York, and other dates coming soon. You can search for him on Eventbrite, as he mentioned. He also is on the web, and you can find him there. You know what? I had the information directly in front of me, and then I wandered away. Okay, Richard Hadam.
Podcast is Richard Hadam's Paranormal Bookshelf. Yep. Check out the podcast, check out the website, go to Eventbrite, and grab a ticket and come by and say hi.
That's right. Please do. Our thanks to Rich Hadam for being with us here on
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
For now. Well, there you have it. The end of another perfect episode of Derek and Romaine. And if you want more great fun, go to dnrstudios.com and subscribe to get our show every day. And don't forget, for DNR Plus subscribers, you can use the DNR Cast app for iPhone, available now in the App Store.